Welcome back to Easy English Flow with Mark and Sarah. Today we are going to talk about the power of habits.
That's right. And it's one of those topics that it sounds a little simple, maybe even boring on the surface, but it's actually the secret engine behind, well, almost everything we do.
Oh, for sure.
Whether you're trying to get fit or save money and this is key for everyone listening, master the English language. Habits are, the invisible architecture of your life.
I am so excited for this one because honestly, I struggle with this stuff. I really do. I feel like I'm constantly fighting my own brain. I have so many things I do every day, but I don't even think about. Like this morning I woke up and before I even got out of bed, I was scrolling through my phone. I didn't decide to do it.
It just happened.
It just happened. It's like my thumb has a mind of its own. It's crazy.
You are definitely not alone in that. And that is actually the perfect definition of a habit. It's a behavior that's been repeated so many times it becomes automatic.
Right.
You don't have to use any real brain power to do it.
Right. It's like being a zombie, but for, scrolling social media or for snacking.
In a way, yes. I mean, think about brushing your teeth. You don't stand in front of the sink and have this big debate with yourself every morning.
No, thank goodness.
You don't ask, should I brush my teeth today? Which hand should I use? How long?
Should I start on the left side or the right side? Yeah, no.
You just do it. You kind of zone out, and then 2 minutes later, it's done.
And my day would be exhausting if I had to make a complex decision about every single thing I did. I'd be tired before breakfast was even over.
And that is exactly why the brain creates habits.
Yeah.
It's a survival mechanism, really. You have to understand that the brain is a total energy hog.
An energy hog.
Oh, yeah. It uses about 20% of your body's energy, even though it's, just a few pounds. So it's constantly, and I mean constantly, looking for ways to save effort.
Okay, that makes sense.
Whenever you face a new situation, your brain has to work really hard. It's asking, how do I respond to this? But once you find a solution that works, your brain says, okay, great, that worked. Next time, let's just use that same solution automatically.
It becomes a shortcut.
It becomes a shortcut. Exactly.
So habits are basically our brain being efficient, or maybe just a little lazy.
Efficient is definitely a nicer word for it. But yeah, biologically, laziness is a virtue. It preserves energy for, emergencies.
Right.
But for the people listening to us right now, the learners, this creates a very specific challenge. You see, you can't learn English by just relying on these big bursts of high energy.
Yeah.
You can't just study for 5 hours once a month and expect to see results.
Oh, I've tried that. I call it the marathon method. It absolutely does not work.
No.
You just get a massive headache, you burn out completely, and you forget everything 2 days later.
Right. Language learning, and this is true for getting fit or saving money, anything, it relies on consistency, not intensity. Studying for 20 minutes every single day is, well, it's infinitely more powerful than one marathon session a month.
It's all about the frequency, not the duration.
Precisely.
Consistency is the key to success. I hear that all the time. It's on every motivational poster. But it's so hard to actually do. Why is it so hard to just do that small thing every day?
Well, it's hard because we often rely on willpower. We treat willpower like it's this muscle that never gets tired. But the science tells us that's just not true. Willpower is a limited resource.
It's a battery.
It's actually like a battery. And by the end of the day, it's pretty much empty. But today, we're going to look at the science of habit formation so we can stop relying on willpower.
Okay.
We're going to look at how habits actually work in the brain so we can kind of hack the system. We have a roadmap for today. We're going to talk about the habit loop, the golden rule of changing habits, and then some really specific strategies like the 2-minute rule and environment design.
I love a good life hack. So let's dive into the science. I know we aren't neurologists, but give us the background. Where does this understanding of habits even come from?
A huge amount of what we know comes from research done at MIT, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, way back in the 1990s. They were running these experiments with rats in mazes. This sounds so classic, right?
Rats in a maze. Yeah, that is the classic science experiment.
Exactly. So they put these rats in a T-shaped maze, and there was some chocolate at one end.
Of course, there was chocolate.
Of course. And at first, the rats were sniffing all the corners. They were scratching the walls. Their brains were just exploding with activity. They were analyzing everything.
Trying to figure it out.
Right. But as they repeated the maze over and over, something really interesting happened. The brain activity in the rats actually decreased.
Wait, so they were getting better at the maze, but their brains were working less.
Precisely. The mental activity moved from the decision-making part of the brain, that's the prefrontal cortex, into a deeper, more primitive part of the brain called the basal ganglia.
The basal ganglia.
Mm-hmm. This is where habits are stored. It's like the brain was saying, okay, I don't need the CEO to handle this anymore. I'll let the automatic pilot take over.
That is fascinating. So when I drive to work and I get there and I don't remember the drive at all, that's my basal ganglia driving the car.
Ideally, yes.
Mhm.
And the MIT researchers found that at the core of this automatic behavior, there is a simple neurological loop, a cycle that repeats. And it has three very specific parts:
Okay.
the cue, the routine, and the reward.
Okay, let's unpack this. The cue, the routine, the reward. This is like the holy trinity of habits. Let's start with the cue. What's that?
So the cue is the trigger. It's the signal that tells your brain, okay, go into automatic mode now, use this specific habit. It's basically the button that starts the engine.
Like a starting gun at a race.
Yes, that's a great way to put it. And these cues, they usually fall into one of 5 specific categories. And this is really helpful for our listeners to identify why they do what they do. If you can spot the cue, you can predict the habit.
Okay, hit me with the 5 categories.
All right, the first one is location. Just being in a specific place. For example, you walk into the kitchen and suddenly you want a snack. You aren't even hungry, but the kitchen itself is the cue for eating.
Oh, I have that. The movie theater is my cue for popcorn. I don't even like popcorn that much, but if I walk into a cinema, the smell hits me, the location registers in my brain, and I feel like I have to buy it.
Exactly. The location triggers the craving. So the second category is time, a specific time of day.
Let me guess. 3:00 p.m.
You nailed it. 3 o'clock hits, your energy dips a little, you look at the clock, and suddenly, bang, you need a coffee. Or you need a cookie.
Or a nap. But yeah, usually coffee. It's like clockwork.
The third category is your emotional state. So how you're feeling.
Oh, this is a big one. Stress.
Stress is a huge cue. You feel stressed, so you bite your nails. Or you feel sad, so you eat some ice cream. Or you feel bored, so you check your phone. The emotion triggers the behavior as a way to, fix the feeling.
I definitely have the stress eating cue. It's almost immediate. I get one bad email and my hand is already looking for chocolate. What's number 4?
Number 4 is other people. Who you are with.
Oh, like peer pressure?
Sort of. But it's often more subtle than that. It's more about association. Maybe you have a friend who smokes. You might find you only smoke when you're with that specific person.
Right.
Or maybe you have a friend who loves to complain and gossip. So when you're with them, you automatically start complaining too, even if you're usually a really positive person.
That makes sense. We kind of mirror the people around us. It's like social camouflage or something. Okay, and the last one.
The 5th cue is an immediately preceding action. This is just a fancy way of saying habit stacking. It means one thing happens, which immediately triggers the next thing.
Like a chain reaction.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For example, you finish eating dinner. That's the action. Immediately, you stand up and put your plate in the sink. Finishing the meal is the cue to clear the table.
Okay.
Or you put on your pajamas, and that's the cue to brush your teeth.
Or for me, finishing dinner is the cue to walk directly to the sofa and collapse.
Right. The end of one event is the start of the next. And that leads us perfectly to the second part of the loop, the routine.
The routine. Okay, so this is what we usually think of as the habit, right? The action itself.
Yes, exactly. The routine is the behavior. It can be physical, like putting on your running shoes or eating that cookie or smoking a cigarette. But, and this is really important, it can also be mental or emotional.
Mental. Like a thought can be a habit.
Yes. A habit can be a thought pattern. For example, let's say you make a mistake at work. If your immediate automatic thought is, I am not good enough, or I am so stupid, that is a mental habit.
Wow.
You've practiced that thought so many times, it's become completely automatic.
Wow. That is deep. So we can actually have habitual insecurity. That explains a lot about anxiety.
We absolutely can. And we can have emotional routines too, like feeling anxious the second your phone buzzes. You haven't even looked at it yet. But the sound, the buzz, triggers the anxiety response.
Okay, so we have the cue, which is the trigger, and the routine, the action. That leaves the third part, which I assume is the reason we do it at all, the reward.
The reward is the most important part for the brain. It's the reason the brain remembers this loop in the first place. The reward provides pleasure or relief. It teaches the brain, hey, this was good, let's do it again next time.
So in my movie theater example, the popcorn is the routine. What's the reward? Just the taste.
A taste, for sure. Salt, butter, the crunch, but also the comfort, the feeling of relaxation. It signals that work is over, entertainment is starting now.
Right.
Let's look at that stress eating loop again. The cue. You feel stressed, you have high cortisol. The routine, you eat chocolate. And the reward, you get a sugar rush, a dopamine hit, and this temporary feeling of relief.
Or the boredom loop. The cue is I'm bored and I'm uncomfortable with silence.
Hmm.
The routine, I scroll through TikTok. And the reward, I am entertained, I'm distracted, I'm kind of numb for 5 minutes.
Exactly. The reward satisfies the craving. And here's the really cool science part. Eventually, the brain starts to release dopamine, that's the pleasure chemical, before you even get the reward. Just seeing the cue is enough.
Oh.
Your brain starts to anticipate the reward.
So how do we use this for learning English? I mean, I want to build a loop where the reward is being fluent.
And that is the problem. Being fluent is way too far away. The brain needs immediate rewards. The basal ganglia, it's not interested in what happens in 2 years. It wants to know what happens in 2 minutes.
Okay, so you need an immediate payoff.
You need to construct a positive study loop with an immediate payoff.
Okay, let's build one together right now for a listener who wants to study in the morning. So first, we pick a cue.
Let's use habit stacking and location. How about there? 7 a.m. kitchen table. My coffee machine is right there.
Great. Now the routine. What's a small, achievable routine?
I will read one news article in English. Perfect. Small and very specific.
Right.
Now, the reward, this has to be something you actually love. You mentioned the coffee machine.
Coffee. I love my morning coffee. It is basically the reason I wake up.
Okay, so here's the rule. You are only allowed to press the button on the coffee machine after you read the article.
Oh, that is cruel. That is holding my caffeine hostage.
It's extremely effective because eventually your brain will start to look forward to reading the article because it predicts the caffeine hit that comes right after.
I see.
You're hacking your brain's desire for the reward. You're associating the pain of reading with the pleasure of coffee.
That is clever. I am definitely going to try that. But I have to play devil's advocate here. Creating new habits sounds fun and all, but what about the bad habits, the ones we really want to break, like my doom scrolling or the afternoon snacking?
That brings us to our first major strategy, the golden rule of habit change.
The golden rule sounds important.
It is, because most people try to change habits using just raw willpower. They say, okay, I will stop eating sugar, or I will stop checking Instagram. They try to just stop the behavior completely.
And it lasts for about 2 days, maybe 3 if you're really strong, and then you just crash and burn.
Exactly, because you're fighting your own biology. Research shows that you can't simply extinguish a habit. The neural pathways, the roads in your brain, they're already built. Synaptic pruning, which is the process of removing unused connections, takes a very long time. You can't just delete a highway in your brain overnight.
So if we can't delete the highway, what are we supposed to do? Just live with it?
We redirect the traffic. The golden rule is this. To change a habit, you must keep the old cue and keep the old reward, but you insert a new routine.
Keep the cue, keep the reward, change the routine.
Okay.
Can you give us a detailed real-life example of that?
Let's look at the classic afternoon coffee break. This is a very common one. Imagine it's 3:00 p.m. That's the cue. You're at work, you're tired, your brain feels a little foggy. The old routine is you go to the cafeteria and you buy a cookie or a sugary donut.
Okay. And the reward is the sugar rush.
You might think so, but is it? If you really analyze it, is it just the sugar? Or is it the fact that you got to stand up, you got to walk away from your computer, maybe you got to chat with a colleague in the cafeteria for 5 minutes?
That's a really good point. The reward might actually be the break from work, a change of scenery, a little burst of social energy.
Precisely. It's not really about the cookie, it's about escaping the desk.
Yeah.
So if you try to quit by just sitting at your desk and using willpower, you fail because you're depriving yourself of the break that you're actually craving.
All right.
So applying the golden rule. The cue is 3:00 p.m., feeling tired, keep it. The reward is a break and some energy, keep it. The new routine. Instead of the cookie, you go for a short walk outside, or you walk to the water cooler and drink a big glass of cold water while chatting with a friend.
So you still get the break, you still get the movement, you still get the social time, but you just cut out the sugar.
Exactly. You're satisfying the craving in a much healthier way. You keep the structure of the loop, but you just change the payload.
I love that. Let's apply this to English learners. We have a lot of listeners who come home after work, they're totally tired, and they just want to zone out.
Yes. The Netflix habit, this is a huge one. The cue is after dinner, sitting on the sofa. The reward is relaxation, disconnecting from the stress of the day. And the old routine is watching Netflix in your native language for 2 hours.
I see where this is going. But wait, if I tell them to just study a textbook instead, they are going to hate me. We don't want to lose that relaxation reward.
No, of course not. If you try to force yourself to study a grammar textbook at that moment, you will fail. The gap is just too big. The reward of studying grammar does not match the reward of relaxation.
Okay, so what's the switch?
Keep the cue, Sova. Keep the reward, relaxation. The new routine, watch Netflix, but change the audio or the subtitles to English.
Ah, that is a great switch. You are still relaxing, you're still watching your show, you aren't doing work, but you've just turned a passive, non-productive time into active input.
And because you didn't take away the reward of relaxation, your brain doesn't fight it as much. You're basically tricking your brain into learning.
It's a soft change, not a hard one. I like that. But honestly, sometimes even that feels like too much effort. What if I'm just too lazy to even change the settings? Or what if I want to start a completely new habit, like reading a book, but I can't start.
That procrastination is very real. And that leads us to strategy number 2. This is my absolute favorite one for overcoming that feeling of I just can't get started. It's called the 2-minute rule.
Procrastination is my middle name. Why do we do it? Is it just pure laziness?
Not exactly. Usually we procrastinate because the task feels too big. If I tell you right now, Mark, you must study English grammar for 1 full hour, how do you feel?
I feel heavy. I feel resistance. I feel like I have a mountain to climb. Honestly, I want to run away and do the dishes instead. Anything else?
Right. It sounds exhausting. So your brain just says, let's do this later. The 2-minute rule solves this by using, well, physics. Think of Isaac Newton. An object at rest stays at rest. The hardest part is always starting.
Getting the momentum going.
Right. Static friction is always higher than kinetic friction. So the rule is this. When you start a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to do.
2 minutes? But hold on, you can't learn English in 2 minutes. If I read for 2 minutes, I haven't really learned anything. Is this actually useful?
That is the most common skepticism.
Yeah.
What's the point of doing 1 push-up? But you have to shift your mindset here. The goal is not to finish the task perfectly. The goal is to simply show up.
Just to start.
Just to start. You cannot optimize a habit that does not exist yet. You have to establish the habit first. A habit must be established before it can be improved.
So how do we downscale these big tasks? Give me some examples.
Okay, let's take reading. Instead of read a book for 30 minutes, the 2-minute version is read 1 page.
Just 1 page.
Just 1 page. Or even smaller, open the book. Instead of do 30 minutes of yoga, the 2-minute version is take out my yoga mat.
So the success isn't doing the yoga. The success is just unrolling the mat.
Yes. Because once the mat is unrolled, or once the book is open, it's so much easier to continue. The hardest part is over. These are called gateway habits.
Gateway habits. I like that.
If you put on your running shoes and just step out the door, that takes 2 minutes, you're probably going to run. You won't just stand there and then go back inside.
It's true.
If you say, I will study vocabulary, that's vague and it's scary. Make the habit. Open my flashcard app.
I like this philosophy. It really takes the pressure off. It's about building the rhythm of showing up. It sounds like you're training your brain to be the kind of person who shows up.
Exactly. Once you're the type of person who opens the book every day, then you can worry about reading for 30 minutes. But you have to establish the entry point first. Make it so easy you can't say no.
Okay, so we have the loop, the golden rule, and the 2-minute rule. But there's another factor, isn't there? Sometimes I want to do the habit, but my house is, like, fighting against me.
Ah, yes. That is strategy number 3, environment design.
Designing your environment. This sounds a bit like feng shui or interior decorating.
A little bit. But it's based on this really simple idea that humans follow the path of least resistance.
We are naturally lazy. We covered this.
Biologically, yes. We want to conserve energy. We just do what is easy. We like to think we're the masters of our destiny, but actually, we are often just victims of our environment. If there are cookies on the counter, we eat them. If our phone is in our hand, we check it. So if you want to build a good habit, you must reduce the friction. Make it incredibly easy to do.
And for a bad habit?
If you want to break a bad habit, you must increase the friction. Make it hard to do.
Okay, can you give us an example? Let's talk about, I don't know, learning to play the guitar or, of course, learning English.
Okay, the guitar. If you keep your guitar inside its case, zipped up in the back of a closet behind your winter coats, are you going to play it?
No way. It would take me 5 minutes just to dig it out. That's way too much effort.
Exactly. That is high friction. You've placed obstacles between you and the habit. But what if you buy a guitar stand and put the guitar right in the middle of your living room?
It's staring at me.
It is staring at you. It's accessible. You can just pick it up and strum for 2 minutes.
You have reduced the friction to almost zero. The visual cue is right there.
Okay, so how does that apply to English?
For English learners, this can be the tape method.
The tape method.
Yeah. Get a roll of masking tape and a marker. Go around your house and label everything in English. Mirror, fridge, bookshelf.
Oh, that's clever.
You're designing your environment so that everywhere you look, you see English.
All right.
You don't have to decide to study. The study is just happening to you because of your environment.
That is brilliant. I do this with my phone, actually. If I want to stop checking it, I know I can't just leave it on the table. No. Even face down, it's too easy to just flip it over. That's low friction for a bad habit.
Right.
You need to increase the friction. Put it in another room. Put it in a drawer. Put it on top of a high shelf where you can't reach it easily.
I actually have a friend who locks his phone in a little box with a timer when he studies. He literally cannot get to it.
That is extreme friction.
Yeah.
But I bet it works. And for English learners, there's a brilliant environment design hack involving your phone that we briefly touched on with Netflix.
Oh, right. Changing the language settings.
Yes. Go into your settings right now and change your phone's language to English. Why does this work? Because you use your phone for everything. Maps, alarm clocks, settings, calendar.
Everything.
By changing the interface, you are forcing yourself to interact with English every single time you pick up the device.
And it requires zero willpower. Once you change the setting, the environment is just English.
Exactly. You have designed your environment to make English inevitable.
That is a bold move, though. I did that once, and I couldn't figure out how to turn off my flashlight. I was just panic tapping everything. But
I will say, I learned the word flashlight really, really fast.
see? It works. It's immersion by design. Now, let's move to a deeper level. We've talked about tactics, but strategy number 4 is about the psychology of the self. This is about identity-based habits.
This sounds pretty psychological. Outcome versus identity. What does that mean?
Right. So most people focus on outcomes. I want to get an A on the exam. I want to lose 10 kilograms. I want to write a book.
Those sound like good goals. I mean, we're taught to set goals.
They're fine, but they're surface level. They're about what you get. The better alternative is to focus on who you wish to become, your identity.
Okay.
There's a concept in psychology called cognitive dissonance. Basically, your brain hates it when your actions don't match your beliefs about yourself.
So if I think I'm a healthy person, but I'm sitting here eating junk food, my brain feels bad. Exactly. It feels uncomfortable. So you usually adjust your actions to match your identity. There's a great analogy about two people resisting a cigarette.
All right.
Imagine you offer a cigarette to person A. They say, "No thanks, I'm trying to quit."
That sounds like a good answer. I'm trying.
It sounds good. But listen closely to the words, "I am trying to quit."
Yeah.
They still believe they are a smoker who is struggling to do something else.
Yeah.
They identify as a smoker. They're just hoping their willpower lasts.
Interesting. Okay, what about person B?
You offer a cigarette to person B. They say, "No thanks, I'm not a smoker."
Oh, that is different. It's so definitive.
It's a small shift in words, but a massive difference in mindset. I am not a smoker. That signals a true shift in identity. They don't see themselves as someone resisting. They just aren't a person who smokes. Smoking would contradict their identity.
So true behavior change is actually identity change.
Yes. The goal isn't to run a marathon. The goal is to become a runner. The goal isn't to read a book. The goal is to become a reader.
So for our listeners, instead of saying, I am trying to learn English, what should they say?
They should start saying, "I am an English speaker. I am a student. I'm a communicator." Stop saying I'm bad at languages. If you tell yourself I'm bad at languages, your brain will actually sabotage you to make that statement true.
I am an English speaker. I like that. It feels empowering, but isn't that just kind of faking it until you make it?
In the beginning, yes. But here's the cool part. Every time you do a small habit, every time you do your 2-minute reading, you are casting a vote for that new identity.
A vote.
You're proving to yourself. See, I read in English today. That's what readers do. Therefore, I am an English reader.
You're building evidence for your new self. It's not just positive thinking, it's actual proof.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And when your behavior and your identity finally align, you don't need willpower anymore. You're simply acting like the person you believe yourself to be. It becomes effortless.
That is really powerful stuff. But I have to play devil's advocate again here because I know what happens next. A listener gets all excited. They say, I am an English speaker. They do the 2-minute rule. They change their phone to English. They work hard for 2 weeks. And then they still can't understand a movie. They still make grammar mistakes. They feel like nothing has changed. I feel like a lot of people quit because they work so hard and they just don't see the results.
You have just hit on the single biggest reason people fail.
Yeah.
That is the valley of disappointment. And it leads us to strategy number 5.
Yeah.
The plateau of latent potential.
The Plateau of Latent Potential. Wow, that sounds like a sci-fi movie title. Or a really depressing place to visit.
It does, but it explains why progress is so frustrating. We expect progress to be linear. We think, if I study for 1 hour, I get 1 unit better.
Like climbing a staircase, one step, one level up.
Right. If I study for 2 hours, I get 2 units better. But reality just doesn't work like that. Results are very often delayed. I want you to visualize an ice cube.
Okay, got it. Picturing an ice cube.
It's sitting on a table in a freezing cold room. The temperature is 25 degrees Fahrenheit.
That is cold.
You want to melt the ice cube. So you start heating up the room slowly.
Yeah.
You're putting in the effort. The temperature goes up to 26 degrees. You lick the ice cube, nothing happens. It's still a solid block of ice.
Okay.
27 degrees, nothing. 28 degrees, still nothing. 29 degrees, still a block of ice. Now imagine you're the person heating the room. You've been working hard, putting in all this energy, but you see 0 results. You feel like a total failure. You think, this isn't working.
I would absolutely be thinking, this is broken. Why am I wasting my energy? I quit.
Exactly. You hit 30 degrees, nothing. 31 degrees, nothing. But then 32 degrees.
The melting point.
The ice begins to melt. Suddenly you see water. Now here's the question. Was all the energy you spent going from 25 to 31 degrees wasted?
No, of course not. You needed that energy just to get to 32. If you stopped at 31, you would have wasted it all.
Exactly. It wasn't wasted. It was being stored. The breakthrough only happens at 32 degrees. But the real work happened at 26, 27, and 28.
That is such a good analogy. So when we feel like we're studying and not improving, we are just heating up the room.
You're just heating up the room. You're at 29 degrees. You might study vocabulary for weeks and feel like you can't speak any better. You might watch a movie and still need the subtitles. This is the plateau. This is the valley of disappointment.
Wow.
It's like a bamboo tree. Did you know that a Chinese bamboo tree stays completely underground for 5 years?
5 years, seriously.
5 years. You water it, you fertilize it, and you see absolutely nothing. No shoot, no leaf, just dirt. But in the 5th year, once it finally breaks the surface, it grows 80 feet tall in just 6 weeks.
That's insane. So it was growing roots that whole time.
Exactly. It was building the foundation to support the eventual height. Mastery requires patience. It requires you to persist through the plateau. You have to trust that the roots are growing even when you can't see the leaves.
That is really, really encouraging. I think a lot of us quit at 31 degrees. We quit right before the breakthrough is about to happen.
Most people do. Mastery requires staying on the path even when you don't see the finish line yet.
And this connects to our final strategy, right? The sort of math of it all. Because sometimes those small steps, they feel way too small to matter.
Yes. Strategy number 6, the compound effect. We often look for the magic bullet. We want to lose 10 kilograms overnight. We want to be fluent tomorrow. We want the big lottery win. But real, lasting change is about the math of small improvements.
The idea of getting 1% better every day.
Right. If you get just 1% better every day for 1 year, well, mathematically, if you do 1.01 to the power of 365, you end up 37 times better by the end of the year.
37 times better. That is huge. I mean, that's the difference between being a beginner and being advanced.
It's massive.
Yeah.
But the opposite is also true. If you get 1% worse every day, if you neglect your skills, you decline nearly down to 0.
It's the difference between a straight line and a curve that just shoots up like a rocket ship.
Let's look at a really practical example for English. Imagine learning just 5 new words a day.
Okay, 5 words. That takes what? 3 minutes? It feels totally insignificant. It feels like, why even bother?
It feels like nothing. You might think, whatever, it's just 5 words. It's not going to change my life. But let's do the math. 5 words a day for 365 days.
That is, hold on, around 1,800 words.
1,825 words, to be exact. Now, do you know what you can do with 1,800 words?
I guess you can say a lot more.
With 1,800 of the most common words, you can understand about 80% to 90% of normal daily conversation. You can navigate almost any situation. You can travel, order food, make friends, watch the news.
Oh.
That is the difference between being a helpless beginner and being conversational. And it came from just 5 words a day.
That is the compound effect. Small actions over a long time equal massive results. It's so hard to see in the moment, but it's undeniable in the long run.
Consistency beats intensity. Every time. It's not about how hard you study on Sunday. It's about how many days you show up during the week.
Wow. We have covered a lot of ground today. This has been a massive deep dive. We talked about the science, the MIT rats, the basal ganglia, and that habit loop.
The cue, routine, and reward.
Right. And then the golden rule, changing the routine, not the reward. The 2-minute rule, which is all about just starting.
Overcoming that initial friction.
Yeah, and environment design, hiding the cookies, showing the guitar, changing your phone language, and then the deeper stuff, identity. Stop trying, start being. And finally, the ice cube and the bamboo tree. Having patience through that plateau.
It's a lot, but it's all connected. It's about taking control of your brain's automatic systems. It's about being the architect of your life, not the victim of your impulses.
So let's wrap this up with a concrete action plan. If a listener wants to start today, right now, what should they do?
Okay, here is your weekly action plan. Step 1. Identify your identity. Write it down. Who do you want to be?
Yeah.
I am a disciplined student. I am a confident English speaker. Start there.
Okay.
Step 2. Choose one small habit, just one, and use the 2-minute rule. Read one paragraph, listen to one song, write one sentence. Make it so easy you absolutely cannot fail.
Got it.
Step 3. Design your environment. Make that good habit obvious. Put the book on your pillow, change your phone language, and make the bad habits invisible. Hide the remote control.
Make it harder to do the wrong thing.
Exactly. Step 4. Track your progress. This is so simple but so effective. Get a calendar. Every day you do your small habit, mark a big X on that day, and your only goal is do not break the chain.
I love the don't break the chain method. Seeing those X's line up is so satisfying, it kind of gamifies it.
It's a visual reward.
Yeah.
And finally, step 5. Be patient. Remember the ice cube. If you don't see results this week or this month, relax. You're just storing potential energy. Keep heating the room.
That is a great roadmap. Before we go, let's do a quick glossary review for our English learners. We use some specific terms today.
Sure. Let's define them simply. Habit loop, that's the cycle of cue, routine, and reward. It's the machinery of a habit.
Okay.
Friction, that's the effort required to do something. High friction is hard, low friction is easy.
Procrastination.
That's delaying a task because you don't want to do it. Or, more likely, because it feels too big.
Plateau.
That's the flat period where you don't see any progress, even though you're working hard.
And lastly, the compound effect.
That's the huge results that come from small, repeated actions over a long period of time.
Perfect. You know, looking back at all this, the biggest takeaway for me is that we don't need to be superheroes. We don't need superhuman willpower. We just need better systems.
Not at all. Changing your life doesn't require massive effort. It requires small efforts, repeated consistently. It's about being smart with your environment and your routines, not just trying to force yourself to be better.
So here's my question for you, the listener. What is the one small habit you're going to start today? Is it just opening your book? Is it learning one single word? Don't worry about the marathon. Just put on your running shoes.
Exactly. Start small. Trust the process.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into habits. This has been Easy English Flow with Mark and Sarah. Keep practicing, keep showing up, and remember,
Keep heating up the room. The ice will melt.
see you next time.